We'll sit back, relax and enjoy the show.
The fairy tale is complete. The Central Coast Mariners, champions of Australia.
Hello and welcome to Allianz Stadium on Gadigal land as round 18 of the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition continues. There have been leaden skies in Sydney today and some drizzle about. Let's see how the Allianz Stadium pitch holds up a week after it was relayed. For the second time in a week, Sydney FC does have the home ground advantage. Ufuk Talai's side finds form at the right end of the season as they look to extend that 5-game unbeaten run and just one loss since Christmas. Standing in their way is a wounded Melbourne City outfit, although roots of regeneration appeared in the derby stalemate after shipping 9 goals in the previous fortnight. Luke Bratton prepares to lead the Sydney FC side out with Andrew Redmayne standing behind him, and the Sydney FC custodian still waiting for that 50th A-League clean sheet. Will tonight be the night for Andrew Redmayne and his defensive unit? The youngsters, Jake Girdwood-Reich and Hayden Matthews, continuing to be given the job ahead of perhaps more experienced Gabriel Lacerda and Joel King still waiting in the wings. And Jamie McLaren, speaking of droughts, a man who hasn't scored for 7 matches, and it's something that he hasn't experienced since his first season in the A-League 10 years ago. Will that change for the Melbourne City talisman? You know that goals are never far away with Jamie McLaren. He is, of course, the A-League's all-time leading scorer, 151 in this competition. Is it finally time for him to add to it? Marco Tilio back in the Melbourne City side as well after returning from Scotland. His first start back in City colours last week, and be better for the run as well. Certainly showed plenty of promise. Ostensibly 2 sky blue sides tonight, but of course Sydney FC are the home side. So Ryan Grant and his Chargers will be wearing the home sky blue, and Melbourne City in their change white with the red strap. Sydney FC's coach Ufuk Talai can name an unchanged 11. Jordan Courtney Perkins keeps his place at left back despite a return to fitness of Joel King. He can't even sneak onto the bench as Talai favours continuity. Gabriel Lacerda, the only recognised defender on the Pine. And when it comes to Melbourne City, settled somewhat. However, Aurelio Vidmar does have to make one change to the starting lineup with fullback Scotland Galloway picking up that calf injury last week in the derby. It means we're going to first look from the off at Chilean Vicente Fernandez. He made his bow off the bench last week after Galloway succumbed. And one change on the bench as well. Leo Natel has the flu, and that means it will be a recall. 21-year-old defender Harry Politidis. So Melbourne City has only tasted success on 3 occasions in 12 trips to Moore Park. You have to go back to March 2015 to find the last time that they took 3 points from Sydney FC at this venue, and of course its predecessor. Although their recent record against the Sky Blues is better, they are unbeaten in their past 4 clashes across these 2 sides, and the last 2 games finished with an aggregate scoreline of 6 goals to nil. Of course, one of those was that grand final qualifier last year that ended 4-0 towards Melbourne City, and they did pick up a 2-0 win earlier in the season. Luke Bratton heading back to his side, and all just about in readiness for this one. Melbourne City and Sydney FC with huge stakes on the A-League ladder. So Ufuk Talai talked about creating a new identity this week, and he's been pretty open about the style that he wants his side to play, although he does concede that the high press does leave him vulnerable at the other end, and maybe that's why Andrew Redmayne has had to wait for that 50th clean sheet. Aurelio Vidmar's City coaching debut came against Sydney FC back in round 3 with that 2-0 win. He called the last month horrendous, but after that 0-0 draw in the derby, there are the days ahead for him and his Chargers. It's A-League match 96 for Adam Kersey. He's been in charge of this fixture 3 times in the past. Sydney FC on 2 of those, and he also officiated that first leg of the semi-final last year that ended all square. He gets us underway. Melbourne City will pump it towards the northern end of Allianz Stadium to get this one underway. And alongside me in commentary, it's a very good afternoon to Daniel McBreen.
Good afternoon, Glenn, and everyone out there, all our viewers. A big match here tonight for both teams. Both on the opposite spectrum of the form table. Hasn't been a good month for Melbourne City. They're looking to turn that around against the form team in the competition, Sydney FC, who look to be really sorting out this style of play that Ufuk Talay wants to play.
Well, the cavalry arriving for Melbourne City over the last few weeks, and the offside flag goes up there, but Marco Tilio getting involved nice and early. Of course, Matthew Leckie fit again as well. And a first look, as I said, from the start of the game of Vicente Fernandez. So although they lose Scott Galloway, you get the feeling that they will lose nothing with the import slotting straight in at left back.
No, I actually thought he did well when he came on last week. Leo Vidmar told us before the game against Victory that it'll be a few weeks till he got some serious minutes, but needs must. There he is, and I think he's going to be more than capable in that position.
He concedes to Curtis Good there and then heads back to pick up the pieces. Melbourne City being forced to play from deep in their own half, but Matt Leckie gets the better of Luke Bratton. It's almost the perfect delivery for Jamie McLaren, but Girdwood Reich does well to get in the way, and then Melbourne City give away a free kick right on the halfway line. Bratton wanted to take it quickly. Now this could be a concern for Melbourne City with Matt Leckie just getting down on his haunches. You wonder whether there is an injury there, or maybe it's just a little bit of gamesmanship to ensure that Luke Bratton was forced to slow things down and get City's banks of 4-4-2 set up once again. Girdwood Reich. Matthews, of course, at the back of being given so much opportunity by Ufuk Talay the last few weeks. They haven't disappointed either. The schoolmates from Never High School. Now the centre-back pairings for Sydney FC as Caceres looks for the switch. Ryan Grant is bombing forward toward the byline. Good cutback as well. And it's the first corner of the afternoon for Sydney FC, so early pressure for the home side.
Well, it was a wonderful ball from Bratton, wasn't it? And the run from Ryan Grant as well, and that's what you want. First time ball across the 6-yard. Really asking for his strikers to make that run across the front post, get in front of the defender. See Gomez choosing the middle of the goal option.
Sydney FC have scored more goals from corners than any other club this A-League season. 7 so far. What can Joe Lolly come up with here? Another player looking for goals. 4 games since his last. First ball in dealt with by City. Bratton will recycle. Caceres, another player for Sydney FC that's gone from strength to strength as Bratton's ball in for Gomez, and Jamie Young has to cover that right-hand upright, and it sails agonisingly wide for the Brazilian.
Well, if there's one player in the Sydney FC team you don't want to leave with time and space to play a longer pass, it's Luke Bratton. It's a wonderful ball. Gomez just peeling off at that back post, just guiding it just on the wrong side of the post for Sydney FC. Luke Bratton, he had time, didn't he, to look up, pick his pass. You know he's got such a good long range of passing.
Gomez had plenty of opportunities here this time last week against Adelaide. He finally got on the score sheet from 12 yards. And that was another big sight on goal for the Brazilian. Redmayne slices the clearance, but it ends up with Lolly. Just got the feeling that Jamie Young at the other end might not quite have known where his right-hand upright was then. He almost ran into it. But it was no harm done in the end for Gomez. It's Holman. Touch on the ball in midfield for Sydney FC. Head to left-hand side of defence and slow things down. Interestingly, seeing Luke Bratton drop into that sort of defensive back three with the fullbacks pushing forward. There is those fullbacks on the left-hand side. Courtney Perkins getting an early touch there and keeping Joel King out. We understand that he was back to full fitness and was available for selection this afternoon, but Ufuk Talay is rewarding the players, rightly so, that have been doing the job, and Sydney FC have an attacking throw.
Well, that's what you want to see, isn't it? If you're young enough and you're good enough, you get the opportunity and you do well, you stay there. And so far, the young boys in the Sydney FC team have stepped up to the plate.
City being forced to spend a large part of the opening exchanges in their own half. That's an example of that high press that Ufuk Talay is really trying to instill in this Sydney FC side. Early pressure, plenty of it. Saw the evidence clear last week against Adelaide. Now City will get a throw at the right end of the field for the visiting side. First good playing number 153. Melbourne City this afternoon goes back to Young, and then Sydney FC forced the turnover high up the park again. Lolly has it. Gomez in the middle, brilliantly brought down by the Brazilian. Trying to say that 3 times fast, and then he puts the pressure on, but he can't quite get the corner. It's good effort there again from Sydney FC pushing forward.
Well, what about the first touch? The second one isn't too bad, but the Melbourne City defence gets back and covers. But in this early moment of the match, Ryan Grant is bombing forward on every opportunity, really testing the new left back for Melbourne City, Fernandez.
Fernandez does well there after that. Really good touch from Gomez to get the ledger back in his favour, and ending up winning the goal kick as well. But even when Gomez gave away the possession in the 6-yard box, he's still defending for his life and forcing Melbourne City to maybe give up the corner, but ultimately...
Well, it's a mantra, isn't it, from Ufuk Talay? This is the way he wants them to play. Fast, aggressive, high tempo, lots of pressing.
Good header from Grant. Ollie keeps it in as well. Here's Gomez again. Holman's to his left. Gomez looks to shoot. Jego gets in the way. And now Tilio comes across to win it back for City. That attacking intent is blatantly obvious from Sydney FC as Matthews gives away the free kick going in the back of Matt Leckie.
Smart play from Matt Leckie as Gomez looked to get him behind, but Melbourne City defence did well to cover. And then you see Matt Leckie. It was a solid challenge into the back, but knew he was going to win the free kick.
Fernandez keeps the ball off Joe Lolly. Now the switch. Jego for Talbot against his former side, of course. Callum Talbot in games for Sydney FC early in his career. So Brian. Jego. There's the foul off Holman. There again. Holman just clattering in with Jego shielding the ball. Grant wins the ball back again for Sydney FC. A few turnovers here from City early in the game. So Brian forced to give away the throw. So some good early dominance here from the Sky Blues. And I'm sure from Ufuk Talay's point of view, he'd like to see that early dominance convert the scoreboard. Almost half an hour to break down Adelaide last week. Matt Leckie cops one right in the chops at close range from Ryan Grant. There'll be some tears in the eyes after that one, Macca.
Yeah, They never tickle those, do they? Right on the nose. You see here, and Grant just looks to poke it through, and Wooshka right in the face.
Did well to maintain his footing, Malachy. A lesser man would have gone to ground. Matthews, the searching ball over the top. That one's easy for Jamie Young. Once again, Fabio Gomez is the clear target for Sydney FC at the moment. And a lot of attacking raids coming down the right-hand side.
You just wonder. Oh, that's, okay, almost sneaks in there. I just wonder if that was a conversation piece for Sydney FC. New left back, underdone in the past few months. Let's test him early, put him under pressure.
He certainly held his own over the first 11 minutes. There's Vicente Fernandez. He was a free agent at the end of the window, and of course, Mrs. Bajic has ended up in CR7 in Saudi Arabia. So they're looking for a left back to replace him. Of course, Scott Galloway is part of the squad as well, but the arrival was just in time given Galloway's calf injury, and the word out of City is he'll be missing for a couple of weeks. He was on crutches at full time after that 0-0 draw against Melbourne victory. Ultimately brought down by Ugarkovic, but he loses out to Holman. City will be able to head all the way back to Young and start again. Lecky was the target. Matthews got over the top of him. Possession back for Sydney FC. Mack now links up with Caceres for the switch of play. Jordan Courtney Perkins couldn't quite get past Andrew Naboot. He keeps it in play, but only as far as Caceres. Patient build-up for Sydney FC will be able to continue here. Matthews looking to feed it down that channel. Fernandez shepherds the ball and wins the free kick. Joe Lolly going in over the back of him. And you'd have to say it's high marks for the Chilean so far.
Well, he's got plenty of experience, hasn't he? International level as well. So I don't think any of us thought that he was going to be a pushover. It was just about the match fitness, really, and that will really come into effect as the game goes on.
Macquarie was a pushover there. That's why they got the free kick. But I completely understand your point, of course. Here he is again, looking to find Lecky. Bratton slides in, gives away the throw. City will just be looking to get the ball at their feet, because they've had to do without it for large parts so far. Young for Talbot, just a little too high. Just skims off the top of his head for a Sydney FC throw. Sydney FC have only conceded 2 goals in the first 15 minutes all season. It looks as though about a minute to go. That will continue. Free kick now. We're on the halfway line. Interesting to chat from Lufuk Talay, talking quite openly. Anthony Caceres mentioned it as well about the new philosophy as Tilio looks to put the ball into the area. It was easy for Matthews. Fernandez just clipped there by Joe Lolly. They'll win the free kick as well. Lolly didn't think there was too much in it. He goes over to apologise and probably just says to the referee, look, contact was minimal, I'll cop the free kick.
I think he just clipped the heel, didn't he? Just as he went to take the stick, you see there, he just stands on the foot. Completely incidental.
So Jimmy Jego swings one towards the penalty spot, but Andrew Redmayne can come out and claim. Jego, another one of the cavalry arriving for Melbourne City midway through the season. Another great addition to Isuzu Ute A-League. Of course, after a long time flying his trade overseas, particularly in Austria, more recently in Greece, Belgium, and then ultimately at Hibs.
Well, it hasn't been a bad transfer window for Melbourne City, has it? Tilio comes back. We've got Fernandez coming in at left back. Yes, we know Aziz Bates left. But almost, it's like two new signings as well, with Naboo and Lecky coming back into the team. And of course, as you mentioned, Jimmy Jego. So it was a very productive window.
Yeah, having Andrew Naboo available has been a bonus for Melbourne City, because when he injured his Achilles, everyone was saying, well, we won't see him until the following season. So it's been a great recovery from Naboo.
Well, I spoke to him before the game, and he said the prognosis originally was 6 to 9 months. He talked me through a little bit. It wasn't a complete tear. He had a little bit of a growth that was causing some problems, and they just stitched it back together. They had to make the bone
rough.
Shave the bone back a little bit. It was causing a problem with his Achilles. So it wasn't a complete rupture, which is why he was able to come back a little quicker. But he said even he didn't realise he was going to be able to get back so quick. So it's been a credit to the medical staff as well, and the rehab team at Melbourne City, to get him back on the pitch so quick.
Yeah, of course, Aaron Yakalish and Leo Nathel came into the squad this season as cover out wide, and Aaron Yakalish now finds himself fine with the boot preferred. Tell with hold this week as the ball into the area is dealt with by Cyprian. Here is Naboo. And as far as Luke Bratton, though, and Sydney FC can start again.
Well, they're the positions we've seen as Mac makes a running behind, but flag goes up, clearly in an offside position, but they're the positions we've seen more and more Jordan Courtney-Perkins get into, high on that left-hand side. Sydney FC on that occasion moving the ball well from one side to the other, shifting the Melbourne City defence. You see there, Mac just leaning a little too early.
Yeah, Curtis Good stepped forward. Cyprian dallied a little, but as you say, yeah, Mac's run was not timed the way he would have liked it to have been, and it was really good vision from Curtis Good as well to know that he was going to be in an offside position. His arm went straight up, plenty of experience. The assistant agreed. So a throw in a good position here for City. They haven't been down this end of the field on too many occasions so far this afternoon. Alan Talbot will look for options. Checks out to Cyprian. Goes all the way back to Jamie Young. Will encourage Sydney FC's high press. Maybe now City looking to expose it by going over the top. Talbot, lovely back heel from Naboo. Talbot looked to shoot, feet got in the way, and Sydney FC scramble. Ultimately, Luke Bratton boots it clear, and that was City's best opportunity. A lovely back heel from Andrew Naboo, and Talbot just couldn't quite get his shot away. As we watch Tilio make an insightful run. Loses out to Lolly. Gomez tries to turn. And Good wins it back for City. Just starting to open up here. McLaren says there might have been a push in the back. Nothing doing, says referee Kersey. Now Ugarkovic and Bratton. A bit of a rugby league style tackle that allows Sydney FC to just slow things down.
Well, just a little snapshot of the quality that Melbourne City possess. Hopefully as we said, more minutes under the belt, more we'll see of that in Melbourne City. Andrew Naboot, a lovely little back heel, starting to forge that relationship with Callum Talbot down that right-hand side.
Redmayne can't find Caceres. Talbot does get a bit of his head on it. So Sydney FC with the throw. City haven't won away from Amy Park since round 7. Lost their last 4 away from their home ground. They're looking to snap that this afternoon. They can move level on points with Western Sydney with 3 points this afternoon. Can Melbourne City? Sydney FC could leapfrog MacArthur. Here's Ryan Grant towards the edge of the 18 box. He has Lolly in support. Lolly onto that left foot of his. Caceres tries to bring it down. Now with Gomez. Caceres thinks about unleashing, and now Lolly does on the left foot. Good save, Youngton on the follow-up back. Oh, wonderful! Double save. It'll be a goal kick, and that is outstanding work from the veteran Gloveman.
Well, it was neat play from Sydney FC around the edge of the box. Caceres couldn't quite find the space, but then Joe Lolly does. And as he palms it out, you're thinking that's going to end up in the back of the net from Robbie Mack. He was the first to react. Jamie Young, on 2 occasions, says, no thank you. Got down well. And then, well, the second one came back off the post, did it? I'm not sure.
I think Young might have got across, but it was possibly going wide. Young wasn't to know. There might have been post involved. I thought Young did get some body on it. Maybe off the back of off the post onto Young as the ball comes in for Leckie. He gets highest, but the header loops into the hands of Redmayne. Even still, he had it well covered at that front stick.
Well, how many times have we seen Matt Leckie rise and hang in the air and finish a header? Got up well there, but just couldn't quite stay up long enough. Ended up underneath the ball. But action at both ends. So there's the first save. I'm not sure he does get a save on a touch on the second one. Maybe comes straight back off the post.
While I am very lowly ranked, I am still part of the union, so I'll give him some credit. Tilio with the switch for Talbot. If he touched towards the touchline, he can maintain possession. Once again, Naboot with the back heel. Talbot returns the favour. Bratton gets in the way of Naboot's ball into the area again. Luke Bratton's been everywhere so far for Sydney FC, sitting deep in defence. He's in the right place again there. Still City maintain possession. Jego will come left for Leckie. Takes on Grant. Grant sticks out the leg, gives away the free kick in a really dangerous position here for Melbourne City.
Well, he's been in the wars, Matt Leckie, hasn't he, in the opening 25 minutes. On this occasion, Ryan Grant just left the foot out, caught his left heel there, or left ankle, sorry. As you say, Glenn, this is a very dangerous position for Sydney FC.
His first start last week since coming back from that hamstring injury. Leckie, of course, he injured his knee with the Socceroos last year as well. He's still on the deck as medical treatment is on its way for the Socceroo. Played game number 50 in the A-League for Melbourne City last week. He could have come up with a goal last week, of course. Post. That mazy run towards the edge of the box last week. It was a lovely curling ball past Paul Izzo. And again here, he just tries to step onto that right foot and get past Ryan Grant. Grant sticks the leg out. Clearly brings him down. It's as though Leckie is cutting a forlorn figure, isn't he, Matt Leckie? Let's see if he is able to continue. Marin Jakalic, the wide player, is on the bench. Julio Vidmar would like to get some information as soon as he can. Let him come back into the fray. As Jago takes the free kick towards the 6-yard box. It was just flicked on and Redmayne recovered quickly. It was really awkward for the Sydney FC gloveman with that little flick just in front of his gloves. He did well to keep that one out. Good little free kick in from James Jago. Just in front of Redmayne. Bodies everywhere. Sydney FC keep their sheet clean for now.
He reacted really well there, didn't he? It was a good ball in from Jago. Just a little tiniest of touches from Naboo. Just enough to divert the course of the ball towards goal.
Quickly taken free kick here from City. Naboo with a heavy touch. Tilio tries to stick the foot out and control it, but Sydney FC win it back again. Caceres bombing down the right. Links up with Joe Lolly. As Fernandez going backwards, cuts back in on the left. His touch is too big. Jago takes advantage of it, and they couldn't get the switch away. It means that City win the ball back. Fernandez insisted that went over the touchline. The assistant kept his flag down, and now Joe Lolly thinks about unleashing. Holman is there, and after an eternity, the flag goes up for an offside.
Well, just as Sydney FC went central, as we have a look there, it's tight, isn't it? The whistle is always the call. Sydney FC looked like they could have gone down their left-hand side, and Robbie Macker just straight on into an offside position on this near side. The moment was gone. In deep discussion with the fourth official about the offside rule, I believe.
We hear so often, don't we, that allow play to continue. And I know it's not an A-League thing, it's an IFAB rule and supported by FIFA, but play continues for so long after the actual incident that there's just so many opportunities for things to go wrong. Girdwood Reich, like they're in the school playground, just knocking it back and forth to each other. This was the school captain at Endeavour in Year 12, so Girdwood Reich probably have to give him the opportunity as Caceres chips over. Molly couldn't get there. There were plenty of Melbourne City shirts in the way. Still, Sydney FC maintain possession. Games for Melbourne City himself. Been one of Sydney's best so far. Caceres with a good switch. Here's Courtney Perkins with time and space, and Courtney Perkins had options left and right, and he decides to go straight through the middle. And Courtney Perkins gets his second of the season, and after a lovely switch from Anthony Caceres, he puts Sydney FC ahead, and they lead on 29 minutes, 1-0.
Well, that was wonderful football from Sydney FC. Look at the one-touch football here on the Harvey Norman replay. And we spoke about Courtney Perkins getting more and more forward in advanced positions in the preceding weeks. And on this occasion, as he looks up, assesses his situation, and wallop into the top corner. What a finish that is. Take a bow, Courtney Perkins. That is a great finish. A wonderful team goal, followed by some individual brilliance.
Well, that is an outstanding strike. If Joel King was hoping to push his way back into this Sydney FC side, Courtney Perkins has just said, hang on, this left-back spot is all mine at the moment. I can do it at the back, and I can do it in the final third as well. It's an outstanding strike. He scored his first in late January against Melbourne, victory in sky blue colours. He's got his second this afternoon. And after going ahead at a similar time against Adelaide last week, on the half hour, Sydney FC is in the ascendancy, and you'd have to say it's nothing less than they deserve. They've been largely dominant through the opening half an hour of this one, as City give away the ball carelessly for a Sydney FC throw again. Ufuk Talay will demand the best. He said during the week he's got no sympathy or empathy for his players when they're on the field, and you can see him there still barking at his assistants. I want to see them extend the advantage, because you know that they do concede goals. I don't want to put this one to bed, albeit with an hour to play, as Fernandez takes it towards the halfway line for City. City will just want to have to retain possession, which they're unable to do again, as Holman links up with Mack. Pushed off the ball by Cyprian, and Cyprian will give away the throw. Corey Holman doing the job for Sydney FC in the middle there. The last 6 games in the middle of the park as Holman. You'll know that his brother's side, Jake MacArthur, within sight on the ladder after what was a pretty ordinary start to the season for Sydney FC. They did part ways with Steve Corica. Things are looking fairly bright for them at this stage, as they to extend that unbeaten run. It would be to 6 games if they can hold on. As I say, a long time to play, as Robert Mack has open pastures ahead of him. Finds Gomez, and unfortunately for Gomez, the header goes the wrong way. Mack was going straight towards goal. Gomez was bombing through, and he just couldn't get his head on that and get the direction that he was hoping for.
Yeah, it was just a little behind him, wasn't it? He just tried to crane the neck to guide it towards goal.
Perkins coming again for Sydney FC. He's got the taste for the final third now. Sydney FC switch the play from the left to the right now. Grant and Lolly, ultimately forced back by Melbourne City. Proving force to be reckoned with. Yes, Isuzu Ute A-League men's season. Well, dink over the top was the option from Caceres, but Nabbout gets the head in the way, gives away the throw. There's that header again, and you're right, just can't crane his head back far enough, and he was flying through as well, Gomez, so the timing had to be superb. Again down the left, cuts back in on the right foot. Lolly in the middle of the park, the 1-2 with Caceres. Plenty of City bodies in the way. Grant is pushed by Fernandez. It was 50-50. Goes to doesn't go to ground. It goes over the byline for a corner.
Well, he thought about it, didn't he? It was a nice ball in behind, a good first touch, and it just looked like he thought, if I go down here, but stayed on his feet. Just enough by Fernandez.
I did think initially that Grant was going to go to ground. You're right. Here's Lolly with a low corner towards the penalty spot. Robert Mack blocked. Well, that was something almost from the training ground. The ball over the top from Bratton will be too big for Lolly. But he saw Robert Mack just peel away from the Melbourne City defenders, and Curtis Good gets his body in the way. But this would have been champagne from Sydney FC.
Yeah, straight off the training pitch, that one almost executed to perfection. Curtis Good did really well to sense the danger
got his frame in the way. Robert Mack is very, very dangerous from those positions. 13 goals in his Sydney FC career, 3 this season. Last week was his first start since round 11. Of course, himself with some injury woes, groin injury, but looks to have shaken off those effects. Melbourne City have a free kick on halfway. It's taken quickly. Cyprian will try to find Tilio. Puts it down nicely as Marco Tilio tries to feed the channel for Matt Leckie, but can't keep it in. So although the new faces have arrived for City, the combinations still just taking a little bit of time to gel under Aurelio Vidmar. And here is replay again. Jordan Courtney Perkins, he thought about shooting there and then just took one more step and made sure that he was over the top of that ball and absolutely thundered it with his left foot. Jamie Young had absolutely no chance. It was a thunderbolt. The 21-year-old. Here he is again on the ball, looking up with Caceres. Double-teamed Talbot in the boot. Manages to find Girdwood Reich. Sydney FC can start again from the back. They'd be happy to do so at this stage. Just frustrate Melbourne City. Speak about Jamie McLaren's goal drought. Well, he's barely touched the ball tonight. Sydney FC just haven't let Melbourne City's midfield on the ball at all to feed their talisman. Grant and Lolly. Lolly's ball towards the back post is just a little too heavy for Mack, but he can go and gather. Back heel for Courtney Perkins. Possession. And prepare for another attacking raid. Cyprian does well to win the ball back for City there. That's when things are looking dangerous again. Sydney FC will continue to put pressure on Melbourne City to ram home the point of where the ball has been for Sydney FC. As Mack links up with Lolly on the left-hand side, back post, Ryan Grant wants it. He gets his head on it, back to Mack, and they're scrambling. Ugarkovic gets in the way, and now the shot from Caceres is well saved down to his right by Jamie Young. Gives away another corner, but Young had to be on his toes there to tap that one round the post from Anthony Caceres.
Oh, it was wonderful play again from Sydney FC, little one-touch football. And as the ball came out to Anthony Caceres, everybody was screaming, shoot. It's a good save from Young, one you'd expect him to make, but they really opened the Melbourne City defence up down that right-hand side. It was a decent strike from Caceres.
Yet another corner for the home side. The in-swing up towards the front post. McLaren deals with it. That's his 8th touch of the game so far. 6 of them have been in his own half. Which gives you an indication of where the ball has been for large chunks of this one. Ryan Grant again on the right-hand side for Sydney FC. Tries to lay it off for Lolly. Leckie gets in the way. Tries to go on a run that we remember only too well from back in December in Qatar. This time he can't get towards the 18-yard box. Sydney FC give away the free kick. Ryan Grant using all his experience to get between Matt Leckie and the ball. But again, City turn it over, and Sydney FC can come again. Here's Lolly, cutting back onto the left. Luke Bratton will swing one towards the back post. Robert Mack thought about it first time, brings it down, and now tries to curl it. But it's wide of Jamie Young's far post, and Young is screaming at his defenders and midfielders to shut Sydney FC down, and be aware of Robert Mack, who once again had so much space and time.
Well, he was in acres, wasn't he, when he had the thought about the first time volley. Decided against it. And looked to try and bend it into that far corner.
Just 3 shots on target for Sydney FC. There to clean up again. Talbot probably could have shepherded that one over his head to win the throw for his side, but it's the last header on it. Sydney FC get the throw. Saris wins out against Ugarkovic. All over the top, searching for Gomez. Look at that press again. Putting Young under pressure. Cyprian just has to lash out at it and hope for the best. And the best that he could come up with is another Sydney FC throw. The high press is really rattling Melbourne City. Holman with a bit of space. And that's a rare lip on the copybook for Sydney FC as Mack rolls it over the touchline for a Melbourne City throw. Calais is finding negatives at half-time. Whether getting shots on target will be one of them. Molly tries to play the ball through for Gomez, just too heavy again. Young looks for the quick release, but again, Ryan Grant's there to thwart any chance of a Melbourne City counter. Ugarkovic will find himself under pressure from Holman. Does well. Switch the play for Fernandez. Leckie, nice little turn. Ratton's on his back, but he plays it for Talbot. Callum Talbot has space. Here's Naboo. Rolls the ball across the face for Matt Leckie, and that's a massive opportunity for Melbourne City. But full credit for Ryan Grant getting in the way and denying Matt Leckie from 6 yards out. Really good movement from one side of the field to the other from Melbourne City. And I think Leckie thought he might have had a goal as Marco Tilio now draws the foul, and Luke Bratton goes into the book. He argues the point.
Well, what about this from Ryan Grant? It was a lovely play from Melbourne City. It just comes through bodies, and Matt Leckie's eyes would have lit up there as he looked to tuck it away. Ryan Grant, look at his cover and tackle. Gets his body in there and saves the day.
And that will be Luke Bratton missing from the derby next week. 5 yellow cards for him, so that'll be a big loss for Sydney FC against the Wanderers. Jego's delivery. Gomez getting back to defend, heading it out for a corner. So as the sun slowly sets on the first half at Allianz, Melbourne City getting themselves somewhat back into this game. Ryan Grant doing ever so well to get his body in the way of Matthew Leckie, looking to restore parity. James Jego with the out-swinging corner. What can they come up with here with a minute plus stoppages? Towards the penalty spot. McLaren wanted it. Girdwood Wright got there first. Now he goes to ground under Tilio. It's pinball on the edge of Sydney FC's area. City end up with it, and Lolly lumps it into row 3 over on the halfway line. Fernandez goes back to try to quickly pick the ball up and take the quick throw, but he had no one to throw it to. Now Jego gives him an option. It's another turnover from City after a period of dominance. Sydney FC, as the clock winds down in this opening half, will just take the sting out of that City attack. Play some possession football here. But Much better from Melbourne City, asking questions of Sydney FC. Bratton tries to find Gomez. 2 minutes of time added on in the opening half, and Gomez does well there to link up with Holman, who in turn releases Caceres. Courtney Perkins is bombing on down the left. He wants a double. Caceres goes himself, deflected over the bar, and it will be a corner. But once again, a sweeping move from Sydney FC to put them back on the front foot, and Caceres wins the corner for his side.
Well, look at the run from Courtney Perkins in the overlap. I think if it wasn't the senior player and Anthony Caceres, he may have given him a bit of a serve there.
Yet another corner for Sydney FC, and Joe Lolly in swinging towards the back post. Ugarkovic and Leckie were both there. Talbot picks up the pieces. He wins the throw for his side as well. Courtney Perkins with the last touch. Now with less than a minute of the first half, what can Melbourne City come up with? Ryan Grant wins it back for Sydney FC. Here's Robert Mack. Joe Lolly wants it. Can he get it on that left foot? Jago does well just to put him off, and Supreme was there as well. Fernandez. That's Tilio wide right. Marco Tilio drives towards the centre of the field. Nabbout on the left now. Andrew Nabbout gets it onto his right foot into the chest of Ryan Grant, and the offside flag goes up. Nabbout can't believe it. They tried to switch, Tilio and Nabbout, and clearly you can see that Nabbout is in an offside position. But Ryan Grant did enough to get his body in the way anyway. And Adam Kersey brings a halt to proceedings in the first half. It's a frustrated Andrew Nabbout making his way off Allianz Stadium. It's a frustrated Melbourne City side. But Sydney FC, high fives all round after a first half punctuated by Jordan Courtney Perkins' second goal of the season, just shy of the half-hour mark. And it means that at half-time, it is Sydney FC 1, leading Melbourne City 0.
Let's kick off the This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu Ute, awarded to the best player of the season as nominated by the Paramount ANZ football team. The winner of the prestigious award will receive $10,000. Plus, the Isuzu Ute Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club of choice to win a brand new, top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX to be announced during the grand final. To stay in touch with the leaderboard, tune in for weekly updates at your home of football.
Tomorrow stars the chance to play on pitch in front of the best supporters in our league. A big thank you to Matters. Final balance between excitement and adventure is set to see Isuzu Ute go your own way. Spectators must comply with the A-League's terms and conditions and Defenders Commission country. The A-League's Professional Footballers Australia football coaches.
Welcome back to Allianz Stadium, where Sydney FC, the home side, has a 1-0 lead at half-time against a Melbourne City side that is trying to turn around 3 games without a victory. Sydney FC have only had 1 loss in their last 9, and if they can continue on the way they did in the first half, they can leapfrog MacArthur up into 4th spot and be within 3 points, be within 2 points even, of the Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne Victory. So it's a big second half for both sides. Melbourne City are already back out on Allianz Stadium after Aurelio Vidmar's half-time address, and Sydney FC getting their final instructions from Steve Corica. It was from Ufuk Talay. It was an absolute thunderbolt in the first half from Jordan Courtney Perkins, his 2nd goal of the campaign, the 21-year-old left back that gave Sydney FC the advantage, blasting it into the top corner of Jamie Young's goal. The Melbourne City custodian had to be on his toes throughout that first half as well. He came up with a couple of other big saves to make sure that the score only remained 1-0. What will we have in store for the second half? Sydney FC and Melbourne City in round 18 of the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition. Luke Bratton picked up a yellow card in the first half, and unfortunately for Sydney FC, that means that he won't be available for next week's derby against the Western Sydney Wanderers, his 5th yellow card of the campaign. Adam Kersey is making sure everything is in readiness. He gets us back underway for the second half, and there's been a substitution, not on the field at half-time, but in the commentary box. You might have noticed Daniel McBreen was just a little scratchy in the first half, and we're being told that it's a debut up here for Alex Brosk. Brosky, good to have you alongside me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the notice as well. Macca seemed all right to me. Maybe he had plans tonight and was looking to he's double booked for tonight. So I'm thankfully here with you, mate. One of the best. Looking forward to it.
It's a great vantage point up here, Brosky. You've seen plenty of action down on the field in your days at Allianz Stadium in Sky Blue. Let's see what Sydney FC can come up with in the second half. Certainly Fabio Gomez was getting himself into some pretty good areas in that first half. Didn't come up with the goal, but was giving Melbourne City's defence a lot to think about. And that high press of Sydney FC was making City work hard. Ugarkovic wins the ball in the middle, and they can break here through Talbot. Tilio's bombing forward down the right. We saw him and Andrew Naboot swap sides late in that first half. Tilio to the byline, towards the back post where Naboot's waiting, but Ryan Grant does well to head it clear. Joe Lolly on the follow-up. Can only get it as far as Fernandez, who's looked good for Melbourne City in his starting debut at left-back because of that injury to Scott Galloway. And they maintain possession here, Melbourne City. And a big opportunity late in that first half through Matt Leckie to restore parity. Ryan Grant is the man who saved Sydney on that occasion. From Melbourne City's point of view, they'll just be looking to maintain some possession because they were starved of it in the first half. Sydney FC give away a throw, and while we're on the subject of Sydney FC and Fabio Gomez, from a striker's point of view, Brosky, are you happy with the areas that he's getting into?
Yeah, I am. Look, I think obviously the goals is what everybody looks at, but it's his work rate that, the amount of effort he puts in off the ball that has everybody impressed. Uffy as well, and I think we probably do need to see a few more goals from him. He has 7 to his name, a couple of penalties, but I think it's that work rate that he does in and around. He presses, and he's key to that press that Uffy has implemented into this side. So I think it's whether they can continue that in the second half. We saw them drop off a little bit, get a little bit disjointed with that press last week against Adelaide. Adelaide did very well to break through them, and Melbourne City, they've got a lot of quality and can easily do that. So Fabio Gomez needs to continue that press, and if he can get a goal and put Sydney 2 up, make it a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, no goals in open play in his last 6 games, Fabio Gomez. There's a few players in goal droughts. Joe Lolly, none in 4 either. Now, Ugarkovic gives away a free kick in a really dangerous position. Anthony Caceres goes to ground, and this will be danger for Melbourne City. You can see Mack shielding the ball. Caceres came through, and then Ugarkovic gives it up for City. Mack and Lolly will be over the top of this one. Will it be the left foot of Lolly, or will Mack's right foot look to curl it towards that back post? Gomez is the widest of the Sydney FC players along that line. Caceres is in the middle as well. Will Gomez be the target? It is going to be Lolly with the outswinger, headed clear by Suprian on the 6-yard box. Gomez will go back and collect, and now Bratton swings one in, and Jamie Young should be able to grab this one. He does at the second attempt. He stays on the ground after the challenge of Ryan Grant. I feel Adam Kersey was probably going to give the free kick, but he opted not to when Young was able to recover and pick the ball up on the second occasion. But this was another good in-swinging ball there, Brosky.
It is. They scored a lot of goals from set pieces. Obviously, an area that they focus heavily on, and I mean that challenge there didn't look too bad on Jamie Young, but he's an experienced goalkeeper and obviously has the ref on notice for the next ones. But yeah, that area of the game is incredibly important. Sometimes it can get a bit frustrating.
Good ball here from Bratton. Sorry, Brosky, and it just goes behind Robert Mack. The flag goes up. Melbourne City were asking for it, and finally the assistant obliges, and it will be a free kick for Melbourne City for the offside. Just see there, Robert Mack straying into an offside position. Yeah, you're right about the set pieces. Sydney FC have scored 7 from corners this season. That's the most of any club in the A-League, and free kicks obviously dangerous on the edge of the area as well, particularly in those situations. Adam Kersey is calling for the ball back. Just a bit of a delay there for Melbourne City after the high foot of Fernandez. Calais continuing to labour the point. Tim Danaskis, the fourth official. Now Courtney Perkins looks to play one up the channel for Mack. Gets to the byline, cuts back in on the right, shoots. Talbot gets in the way as well. And once again, Mack was unable to time his run. And the flag goes up. Jamie Young wants it quickly. Once again, it's one of those late calls that we've come to expect from the officials.
It is, and I guess part of the game, they need to let it. They need to let the play, finish on, which a lot of coaches get frustrated. I think, we haven't seen any injuries or anything come from those late calls, which is great. But look, it's what it's been brought in. The VAR's been brought in to look after that and look after any decisions. But I think it is good to see. We want to see goals. We don't want them affected by an incorrect offside, and that's what the VAR is there for.
Sydney FC with throw on halfway. Holman brings it down under pretty heavy pressure. Sydney FC do well to maintain possession, and Caceres plays a nice one too with Holman down that right-hand side. The ball in for Mack, brings it down beautifully. Robert Mack has three Melbourne City players in front of him, lays it off for Bratton. A low strike is deflected by Cyprian, and that one might have been just sneaking in Jamie Young's right-hand upright. Sydney FC win a corner. It was a stinging low drive from Bratton.
A great drive, and he's the one player you expect on the edge of the box is going to put it potentially into the top corner, and Robert Mack does well. He's got three players around him here, lays it off to Luke Bratton, and a good deflection in the end that takes it out.
Caceres is there for the short one. Mack has both arms up, doesn't use Caceres, goes towards the front post. Young tries to punch, only as far as Lolly, who's lurking at the back in for Young, who punches better this time. Still, Mack picks it up for Sydney FC, and Melbourne City have to work hard to scramble it clear, but Adam Kersey will bring a halt to proceedings because Hayden Matthews stayed down. It might have been a clash of heads, or the more likely thing was Jamie Young absolutely charging through to punch the ball and getting anything in his path. Very brave there from Matthews. Jamie Young is a big boy, and any time he comes out, you want to get out of his way. But he did well, the youngster, to go up in the challenge and got a bit of time off from the referee. And of course, goalkeepers have every right to come out and punch those ones, and there was absolutely no malice in it from Jamie Young, just the forearm or the elbow helping Matthews on the side of the head. He's back involved again, Hayden Matthews. Or 196 centimetres of him. Edward Reich will go and clean this one up for Redmayne. Sydney FC goalkeeper largely untested this afternoon. Talbot putting Young under a little bit of pressure there as well, but Young controls it well. Distributes to Ryan Grant. Bratton tried to lay it off for Grant, but City are the first team to get the ball on the deck and control things. Once again, just a little bit sloppy there. Matthews putting that one out for a throw. Hasn't been the cleanest start to the second half from either side. Good, nice passing moves. A few mistakes as well, and there's another as Callum Talbot can't keep that pass in play for Marco Tilio. Once again, Sydney FC be able to start a period of possession well inside City's territory. Here's Mack again, close to the touchline. Heavy pressure from Cyprian. The back heel for Caceres. Nice vision and understanding between the two Sydney FC players. City try to clear it and wins back possession again. Crowd in Allianz Stadium early Saturday evening. 15,000 fans in, which is outstanding on a big night of football. Of course, the Matildas in action as they try to book their place at the Paris Olympics over two legs, the first of which is tonight away to Uzbekistan. Of course, 5 and 3 on 10. The A-League continues as well. Adelaide United up against the Western Sydney Wanderers and the distance derby, Perth and Wellington. A little later on, Phoenix flying. Can they get the job done in the West? And now, Melbourne City with a rare free kick at the right end of the field for them. See Ryan Grant going across Jamie McLaren and then bundled to the turf. The A-League's leading goal scorer by Jake Girdwood-Reich. Jimmy Jego, whose free kicks in the first half caused Sydney FC just to think about things a little. What can he come up with here? Mack and Lolly in the wall. Jamie McLaren will be looking for it at the front post. Lecky and Tilio and Naboot, plenty of experience between those four at domestic and international level. Here's Jego towards the front post. Redmayne comes and punches. Lolly scrambles away. Well dealt with by Sydney FC, but City come again through Fernandez. They can't maintain possession under heavy pressure from the Sky Blues. Sydney FC ultimately win the throw, and that's well dealt with by Sydney FC.
Yeah, it has been. Redmayne's looked very comfortable in goal and dealing with crosses, which is important, I think, especially when you talk about set pieces and how important they are. I think last week as well, Andrew Redmayne came out for one and they conceded at the death from it. So it's important to have someone of his quality coming out and being assured when he comes out with chances.
Garkovic wasn't able to control, so Caceres links up with Robert Mack. Mack's on his left foot. Callum Talbot gets in the way. It almost loops over the top of Jamie Young. He recovers to try to cover his crossbar. It goes over the crossbar, just loops, and then he comes out and congratulates Callum Talbot for doing really well to get his body in the way of that one when Sydney FC looks so dangerous.
Anthony Caceres, he's the man there that you want on the ball. He plays it nice and early to Robert Mack to give him time to either go out and get a shot or cut inside, but in delaying that little bit too long.
Here's the corner from Mack towards the front post. Cyprian heads clear. Tilio tries to turn defence into attack, but Sydney FC win possession back as well. They've done it on so many occasions this evening. Here comes Ryan Grant, cuts back towards the edge of the area. Gomez dallies. Jimmy Jego gets across in front of him and scrambles clear for City, but the offside flag was up. Ryan Grant was a long way forward, and City will get the free kick and a bit of a pressure reliever, Broski.
It was, and I think it spares Fabio Gomez's blushes as well a little bit. His touch there was poor, but Ryan Grant clearly offside and just couldn't pick out the right pass there. I think Fabio Gomez, I don't know if he wasn't expecting it, but probably should have hit that first time, but offside anyway, and City get they stay in it at 1-0 at the moment.
Yeah, Ryan Grant doesn't score too many, does he? The eyes would have lit up. He has got 2 so far this season, though. A pretty good return for him. It's 15 through his 278-game career. And here he is. The villain turned hero in navy blue. He was wearing Melbourne Victory colours on that occasion. It's Terry Antonis's first visit back to Allianz Stadium since he broke Sydney FC hearts in that 2017-2018 grand final qualifier. Antonis against his former club comes onto the field for Melbourne City. He's got half an hour to try to help wrestle things back in favour of his side. He loses out to Lolly there. The Englishman skips past him. And now Anthony Caceres, wonderful save from Jamie Young at the front post. Sydney FC just keep coming wave after wave of attack. And Caceres is denied by a really smart save by Young at the front stick.
A great save by Jamie Young. He's really keeping them in it at the moment. Anthony Caceres, a guy who you'd normally expect in the form that he's in to dink that over Jamie Young, but Jamie Young came out strong, held his position, and a great save. Anthony takes a great touch there and looks near post, and another good save.
Good incisive run from Lolly as well, who's come across to take this out-swinging corner. Just Thinks that one up there. Let it hang. Easy for Jamie Young. Quick release for Tilio, who's quick. Takes a touch, gets past Holman really well. Tilio and Marco Tilio. Welcome back to the A-League. The quick release from Jamie Young, and Tilio returns from Scotland, and he brings a goal with him. Potentially against the run of play. City won't care an inch. It's 1-1.
And what a goal that was. I mean, straight off the set piece, Jamie Young with great delivery, but this touch here is incredible. To take it in stride, it commits the defender, he cuts inside him, and what a finish. I mean, if the first goal by Courtney Perkins was a screamer, then that is an absolute rocket by Tilio, and you said it, welcome back.
Well, he scored in his last 2 games against Sydney FC, Marco Tilio, and in his 50th A-League start, he makes no mistake there. It just kisses the far post on its way in. And he is a real talent. And he is one of those players on that Harvey Norman replay that you just want in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition. A wonderful finish. And once again, Andrew Redmayne will have to wait another week for that 50th clean sheet, because Melbourne City are back in this one on the hour or just after. Marco Tilio makes it 1-1, and what a finish over the last half an hour we've got in store at Allianz. Gomez wins it back for Sydney FC. Caceres with a bit of space. Jego gets in front of him. Caceres cuts onto the right and lays off for Holman. Courtney Perkins has already got one. A low ball into the middle dealt with by Talbot. Well, that gives City a bit of confidence and a bit of belief that they might have been missing. Full credit to Jamie Young as well for the vision and the quick release. Tilio's speed, and then the way he cut inside Corey Holman was just incredible. You can see there, Sydney with 12 shots on goal to Melbourne City's 5. 4 on target to 2. It's the scoreboard that matters at the moment. And Sydney FC will have to work hard for 3 points now. Gomez and Caceres linking up in the middle of the park. They've got Lolly on the right. Will he cut in on the left? No, he won't. Cuts back for Caceres, takes a touch, and a shot deflected again. Cyprian, right place at the right time. And Sydney FC are lining up, but the frustration just starting to creep in on the face of Anthony Caceres. They take the throw quickly. Holman tries to maintain possession. He's unable to do so. City get a relieving throw. And once again, more concerning signs from Melbourne City. Andrew Naboot over on that far side, who stays on the deck. Clutches low down on that ankle, of course. A long time out with an Achilles injury, and we hope, Alex Brosk, that there's no recurrence.
No, absolutely not. Given the injury troubles he's had and the amount of time he spent on the sidelines, he's definitely not a guy you want to see going down in the sort of pain that he's in. Hopefully he gets up and carries on, because it's a big moment for Melbourne City. They did well to equalise. They seem to be getting themselves back in the game, and it is at a pivotal moment. You want your quality players out there. I mean, they have enough cover on the bench, but Andrew Naboot, someone who's starting to come into his own form, and with Tilio, the goal that he's just scored now, that partnership between themselves and Leckie and McLaren is definitely one that continues to improve.
Yeah, there was a shake of the head from Andrew Naboot. Aaron Yakalish is putting his jersey on the bench, so we'll wait and see whether Andrew Naboot is able to continue, and whether it is an injury separate to that Achilles that kept him out for so long. He is back on the park now, looking to run it off. Well, if it's the Achilles, he wouldn't be able to be running at all. Here's Tilio with space again. Melbourne City's goal scorer runs it. Jordan Courtney Perkins, who does well to hold him up, and then Bratton picks up the loose ball. Courtney Perkins does really well on that occasion. Young is a long way out. A bit of foxing there with Robert Mack, and now Robert Mack's trying to grab the ball off him, is he? Jamie Young was inviting him in, but the Melbourne City custodian was always the favourite to end up with that ball. His distribution on that occasion wasn't what he was hoping. Ended up at the feet of Pele. Courtney Perkins tries to find Gomez. Cyprian is there again, as he has been so often this afternoon, the Frenchman. A rock at the back for Melbourne City, has Samuel Cyprian been. Of course, he missed 4 games with a groin injury as well. Came back via that victory game. Welcome return. Aurelio Vidmar. Saris, lovely ball again for Holman. Holman gets past Antonis. Courtney Perkins thinking about a second there. Was dispossessed. Taking just a little bit too long on the ball. Here's Gomez. Jego wins out, but only as far as Bratton. Gomez stays on the ground. Here's Courtney Perkins. Will play continue? Ryan Grant puts his hand up. He's asking for play to be halted. And now Luke Bratton will put the ball over the touchline to allow Gomez to get treatment. And Broski, he grabbed straight at that left hamstring.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. When a player goes down like that, holding the hamstring or holding a muscle, it generally is quite serious. And holding the hamstring there, I don't know if he'll come or if he'll stay on the pitch, which is a shame. He has been coming into a bit of form. He scored a couple goals. He's been quite frustrated, but like I said earlier, that the work rate that he has and the effort that he puts in those forward runs and the pressing that is key to Sydney is what, you know, is keeping him on the park at the moment. But saying that, if it is young Kaczarski who comes on, or Maxi Burgess who seems to be warming up, again, the depth that they've got at the moment is impressive.
Yeah, it looks as though it may be Max Burgess, who is ostensibly a wider player, but has certainly done the job more forward in the past. Or you wonder maybe if Robert Mack would potentially take a more central role.
Well, he did that last year a number of times, went into that central role and did it very, very well. He actually had probably some of his better games in that position.
So they are going to make the change. It'll be the end of the section for Fabio Gomez. Came up with a few chances against Adelaide United last week. He's had a couple this afternoon as well. He flashed a header just past Jamie Young's right upright early in the game, and then a Joe Lolly delivery late in the first half was just behind him, and he couldn't crane his neck to get the header on target. But he's looked dangerous as well. And a double change for Melbourne City. That is the end of the section for Andrew Naboot, Matt Leckie, Marin Jakalic and Alessandro Lapane come onto the field. So for Andrew Naboot's sake, let's hope that that injury for him wasn't too serious. And now the confirmation of Max Burgess coming on for Fabio Gomez. He gets the handshake from Pele. Cutting pretty disappointed figure as he makes his way over to sit on that Sydney FC bench. It does appear at this stage, although we'll get a better view once set up defensively, that Mac might be a bit more central. Maybe as Sydney FC try to work out what they're going to do, and City will try to take advantage. They have a throw here. Talbot takes it quickly for Cyprian. They look to switch it up. They've got space over on that left-hand side. Goes back to Young, and then Young looks to find Jakalic, but just out in front. Ryan Grant can get back for Sydney FC. Explaining to the doctor just what may have happened. Here's Jakalic for Melbourne City with an opportunity on the edge of the area. Just puts it over the bar. Andrew Redmayne was always pretty comfortable. That's what Marin Jakalic has the ability to do for Melbourne City, and they just sat back off him there a little, Broski.
They did, which you wonder if it's a little bit of tiredness starting to creep into the legs, because Jakalic is definitely one guy that you don't want to give space to in anywhere near the goal. And as we look at Gomez there with a hamstring injury and getting ice, it definitely doesn't look too good.
He's in a lot of pain, isn't he, Fabio Gomez? Of course, Pat Wood is a long-term casualty for Sydney FC as well, so the stocks in that final third, or certainly in that number 9 role, taken a hit. I say number 9 because that final third is still pretty well stacked with guys like Mack and Lolly, and then, as you say, Maxi Burgess coming on now. Caceres has had a great game this afternoon, and then Jaden Kosharski, who is an out-and-out striker as well, might get his opportunity over the next couple of weeks. He is on the bench this afternoon, but Burgess has been brought in for Gomez. Burgess with 2 goals this season as well, that double against Western United. Redmayne looks long again for Courtney Perkins. Still full of running is the left back. Takes it to the byline. Burgess is there in support. Tilio gets in front and only give away the throw. Burgess is happy to leave it. And Courtney Perkins, despite being full of running, is on tired legs now. You can see a bit of a limp there. Maybe some cramp is starting to set in. A mountain of work. Gave his side the lead on 29 minutes. Saris under heavy pressure from Jego and Lapane. Sydney FC once again are able to maintain possession. Grant was bombing forward. Lolly comes back in on his left and blazes over the crossbar. Another opportunity goes begging for Sydney FC, but not for that youngster who came up with the catch in about row 9.
Joe Lolly seems to take it a little bit early there, and which is why he's reaching forward and gets underneath it a little bit too much. But as Jakalic is dangerous down one end, everybody knows Joe Lolly, and he's a guy that they need to keep off his left foot, which sounds a lot easier than what it actually is. We see him do it every week, cutting inside onto that left foot and creating chances or having shots or scoring goals. So Joe Lolly, I'd imagine these last 20 minutes will want to get more involved in this game.
It's just something that everyone knows about, but they can't actually stop, isn't it? It's you know it's going to happen. And speaking of Joe Lolly, he's gone to ground there as well, but he's quickly back up on his feet for Sydney FC. Yeah, defensive units can plan all they like for it, but when it happens in front of them, it's hard to stop. Now here's space in the middle of the park for Holman. Lays off for Courtney Perkins. Again, a low ball into the middle. That was easy for Talbot. And City now through Tilio. He can break again. Holman can't keep up. Bratton comes across to take over the defensive duties. And the low balling can't find McLaren, and Matthews clears well for Sydney FC. The cavalry in defence has arrived for the home side. They'll be able to sit a little more behind the ball after that transition from Tilio came to an end. Antonis tries to cut onto his left. Matthews again with a clearing header. Lolly leaps highest for Sydney FC. Up by Curtis Good. Back to Young. Jakalic knew that he was in an offside position there. So he didn't compete for the ball. And it's end to end from one goalkeeper to another. 16 minutes plus stoppages. Melbourne City coach Aurelio Vidmar said after last week that there were some encouraging signs in that 0-0 draw against Melbourne Victory. And after going a goal down here tonight, he'd be happy that they've restored parity. You get the feeling that if Melbourne City, who has been such a big club for so long, want to be featuring in finals football, they need to go on and get 3 points. So Robert Mack takes his leave in 75 minutes. And it's going to be Nathan Amantidis who comes on for Sydney FC in just his 7th appearance of the campaign. Robert Mack, of course, coming back from that groin injury as well. His minutes being managed. Got around about an hour last week, so a little bit longer this evening. Nathan Amentides, the left winger who came through the system in Adelaide, finds himself on for the last 15 or so here. Like for like. Sliding in there was Lapane, and he cleans up Max Burgess, and he gets a yellow card for his troubles. Does Alessandro Lapane? He didn't miss.
No, he didn't. He certainly left his mark there, but the yellow card, I think, is definitely more than enough. We've seen those decisions go horribly wrong in the VAR room at times this season, but that one's a nice, easy decision for the referee there.
It just allows Sydney FC to themselves set. Another set piece just inside Melbourne City's territory. Bratton plays this one long on it. Well, Burgess might be able to drag this one down. It just sits up in that newly laid turf. And Burgess goes towards the byline. It's really good defending at the back post there from Fernandez, because Joe Lolly was just sneaking in behind him, and it was a decent ball across the face of goal.
It was a good ball there by Maxi Burgess. He's been brought on to provide that little bit of quality and spark in attack, and definitely did so there.
Lolly looking to get things going quickly. The in-swinging corner towards the front post. Cyprian again for Melbourne City. Can they quickly release here? It's Tilio, and look at Yakalish bombing forward down the left-hand side. 3 on 2. Sydney FC's defenders scrambling. Holman all the way at the back, and Yakalish can't quite brain that one in. That's really well done from Corey Holman to get in front of Yakalish and win a goal kick for his side.
Great defending there. He was caught as a last man, a one-on-one. He waited for his moment. It was a poor, long touch from Yakalish, which allowed Holman to come across and send him out wide, but he does very, very well. Melbourne City countering very dangerously at the moment, and something Sydney need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Marco Tilio has been central to a lot of that as well. Emilio Vidmar, deep discussion about how the visiting side will play out the last 12.5 plus stoppages. All square. Burgess create a bit of width for Amentides. Amentides looking for his first A-League goal. He's dispossessed in the 18-yard box. Plenty of white shirts there. Now they look to break again. Fernandez pass to Yakalish is disappointing to say the least, and Lolly will win it back for Sydney FC. Joe Lolly on the left foot, and this one is straight into the grateful arms in the end of Jamie Young.
A good save there, a routine one for Jamie Young, but again, just another sign of Joe Lolly, and the fact that for the entire 90 minutes you've got to be on your toes with Joe Lolly and be wary of his threat, because he cuts inside, as you mentioned earlier, all the time. It's hard to stop, and has such a good left foot, but that one fortunately for City didn't nestle in the goal.
Ryan Gray gives away the free kick. Fernandez. That is good. It's a mixer, but all too easy for Matthews there. Now Terry Antonis goes to ground after the challenge. Allman in the middle of the park. Wins a free kick for his troubles. He'll just give his wedding ring to Adam Kersey as well. Needs to remember to pick that one up off the referee at full time, otherwise Terry Antonis could be in a fair bit of strife. So City, at the right end of the field, Jego lasts one long. That one's comfortable for Andrew Redmayne. Looking for options anywhere. But you touched on Sydney FC's fatigue, and maybe they're just a little slow. Sydney FC know that 3 points can put them above MacArthur at the moment. As it stands, with 1-1, they'd sit 1 point off the Bulls. Another 2 points. If they can find a late winner, to propel them above their Sydney rivals. Amentides full of running, trying to put pressure on Young. Sends it straight down Route 1. Talbot up the channel. No runners though. Redmayne comes a long way out. straight at his gaffer. Adam Kersey just brings the aforementioned wedding ring over to the fourth official. That's passed on to Melbourne City's bench, so at least it's getting closer to being returned to Terry Antonis at full time. Here's Lapane. The space here for City. Fernandez bombing forward, the left back. His strike is blocked by Grant. On they go though, City. Antonis with space again to create width, and it's not a great ball. Tilio's only small and he can't get high enough to bring that one down. Antonis would be disappointed with that because it was the right idea. Tilio had space and he's been looking really dangerous. McLaren looking to press high there. Sydney FC do turn it over. Jego. Albert inviting Burgess in before linking up with Tilio. Again Talbot. Good ball for Lapane. And now the flag goes up. I just don't understand why the flag doesn't go up as soon as Lapane has the ball at his feet. Because he was offside. As soon as the ball ends up at his feet, then the play is to end. Anyway, the play does end ultimately. And what about the experience on Melbourne City's bench? Andrew Naboot, Matt Leckie and Steve Ugarkovic watching on. Hundreds and hundreds of A-League games between them. Close to 500 by my count. Robert Mack and Gomez both cutting fairly frustrated figures on Sydney FC's bench. Holman with a hopeful high ball. Ends up with Max Burgess in the middle of the park. Lolly looking for options. We'll go back to Grant. Grant under pressure from Yakulish and wins the foul. Vastly experienced Ryan Grant. Knows how to draw the foul. Time ticking away for both sides to find a winner, although if there's one thing we know about the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition, it's late goals. Joe Lolly has that one blocked. Never leave your seat until the referee blows the full-time whistle, because we've seen time and time and time again late drama. Burgess has that one charged down by Tilio. And now Melbourne City, Tilio. Burgess could be in real trouble here. Is that a yellow card potentially? It will be a booking for Burgess. It was just outside the area. Tilio rode the challenge into the 18-yard box, but it's the right decision by Adam Kersey, and it's a free kick right on the edge of the area for City.
And definitely some worrying signs there. I mean, Maxi Burgess does initiate that contact just outside the box, and thankfully so. Otherwise, we could have been looking at a penalty. But it just shows, again, that counter-attack and that quality with the pace of Tilio and how direct he is always a threat. And City need to keep possession better. The last couple minutes, they've been a little bit sloppy, some misplaced passes, and just letting Melbourne City get themselves into a good opportunity to get that second goal. So a lot of tired legs out there.
From an attacking team's point of view, it's always tricky to get these ones that are so close to the edge of the box up and over that wall. No surprise that the almost 2 metres of Hayden Matthews is front and centre. Andrew Redmayne is making sure that they're in exactly the right position. And now Adam Kersey being called over. He is going to have a look at this just to make sure contact was outside the area and whether a yellow card was sufficient for Burgess. Now, was that last push? I mean, I don't see how you can give away a penalty for that. The contact is almost complete by the time Tilio goes into the box. Are they looking at whether Burgess wins the ball, potentially?
Well, they wouldn't be able to overturn the yellow card or the decision, so it's obviously either a red card decision or a penalty, but obviously the contact is clearly outside the box. Potentially a 2v1 scenario there could make it a red card, but it's definitely not a penalty.
Yeah. So the original free kick stands. Yeah, Luke Bratton was getting across in front as well, so potentially looking at last man. But I don't think there was too much concern that Max Burgess was the last man, and the contact for me was quite clearly outside the area. So anyway, the original decision ultimately stands. Both teams having a chance to rest those tired legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Luke Bratton on the edge, and then Ryan Grant is the draft excluder. Tilio is over the top of it, but it's going to be McLaren who fires low into the wall. On the second attempt, the ball in, and McLaren heads over. The ball came in from the right-hand side of Talbot. Redmayne comes out quickly to have his say. It will be a goal kick.
It's a great block initially from Luke Bratton, but then Jamie McLaren gets himself back into a position where he can score, and in 99 times out of 100 he puts that into the top corner. So just a man a little bit out of form at the moment, hasn't scored in I think 7-8 games now, which is very, very rare for him, and just struggling a little bit in front of goal, because he normally would have taken that one and got his side into the lead.
Yeah, this could be his 8th game without a goal, and the longest drought since season 1 of his A-League career 10 years ago. Confirmation of a yellow card for Andrew Redmayne as well. He raced straight out and gave Adam Kersey a gobful after that header went over the bar. We are going to see James Kucharski coming on for Sydney FC, and Corey Holman, who has done a mountain of work today, gets an early mark as we have a look at the Paramount Plus player index. Marco Tilio, who scored that goal for City, is at the top of the pops, and the amount of work that Anthony Caceres has done as well. No surprise that he's in the mix alongside their goal scorer. Here he is, Jordan Courtney-Perkins, linking up with Amantidis, and he wins a corner for his side late on. Could there be more drama in the dying embers of an A-League men's match? The 89th minute. One apiece. The Cove bouncing. What can Sydney FC come up with? Amantidis with the corner towards the back post. Burgess goes up. So does Jamie Young, and comes down with it comfortably in the gloves for Melbourne City.
Another set piece for Sydney, and Jamie Young comes out to collect that one as well. Maxi Burgess claiming a penalty there, but definitely not one coming. It was a decent challenge.
Another searching ball for Marco Tilio, but Andrew Redmayne was out quickly. City looking to get the throw quick. Terry Antonis takes it, but Adam Kersey says, you're way off the mark, and for one of the first times in the history of football, a referee doesn't allow someone to take a throw off the mark. Cyprian looks for the switch to Jakalic. Ryan Grant is there, but it does end up with a Croatian-Australian. Jakalish's low ball for Lapane. Alessandro Lapane straight into the gloves of Andrew Redmayne. Big opportunity for City. He was well held when he took that shot. Sydney FC's defence rallied quickly, and now from one end of the field to the other, Jamie Young will start things again for Melbourne City.
Both sides getting cover across and making crucial tackles at important moments, and players really struggling to get clean strikes away, because it's really got that feel at the moment that it'll be one moment of quality, and when you look on that field, we've seen it from Tilio, you've got McLaren up there, and on the other side, Kucharski's come on, and Manatidis as well. So much quality, anyone could get the winning goal at any moment.
Jamie Young and Jake Girdwood-Reich in a good battle. Young wins a corner for his side. We're into 6 minutes of time added on at Allianz Stadium. Another corner to be taken by Jimmy Jego for Melbourne City. Tilio is going to ask for it short. He drags Amentides out of the mix-up. McLaren and Good at the back post. Cyprian causing problems as well. It's towards Yakulis at the front post. Scrambled away. Still they come, Melbourne City. Cyprian, does he stay on side? He goes towards the byline, cuts back. Lepane was there. Shot from Good, Jego as well. And now, after about 15 minutes, the flag goes up. Cyprian's offside here, and we go on for another 30 seconds. And once again, it's not a criticism of the assistant referee, but IFAB and FIFA need to do something about this.
Well, it gives us a bit more excitement, yeah.
Certainly adding to the drama, because there's been plenty of it at Allianz Stadium this afternoon. Jordan Courtney-Perkins' first half goal cancelled out by Marco Tilio. Sydney FC looking to extend their unbeaten run to 6 games. Melbourne City facing the prospect at the moment of back-to-back draws after a couple of heavy defeats. And Tonus goes down in the centre circle. It'll be a Melbourne City free kick. Still plenty of time left in this one. Burgess goes into the back of him again. Tired Courtney-Perkins gives away the throw. Taken quickly by Tilio. Talbot loses out to Burgess. Sydney FC will get the free kick. It was a tangle of legs. And it was Talbot who was on the ground when he brought down Max Burgess. Redmayne was hoping to take it quickly. That won't happen just yet. See Burgess getting the liquid in, even though he's a substitute. It's been a lot of heavy work in hot conditions. Smiles all around from the Sydney bench. Redmayne pumps this one forward. It's over the top of Kucharski. Joe Lolly now wins the throw for his side. No goals in 4 for Joe Lolly. Is this the time for him to be the hero? Another throw for the Sky Blues. Half the allotted 6 minutes is up. Grant isn't happy with the ball now. Each one more heavily inflated. Alan Talbot takes the opportunity to get an early mark. Nuno Reis on the field. Melbourne City lightly used this season as he's battled injury, and in more positive news, his third child a couple of weeks ago. Jump time for him the last 2 minutes as Ryan Grant throws in with the better inflated ball. Bounces around dangerously for Kucharski. Amentides lays it off for Max Burgess. Can't control. Can City scramble this one clear? Only as far as Luke Bratton. Joe Lolly with the left foot across the face. Another great save by Jamie Young.
And how good's he been tonight, Jamie Young? He's been out every big moment that Sydney have had, and another one there with only a couple of minutes to go. Joe Lolly on his famous left foot gets in a strike. It is a tough angle there, but Jamie Young could easily have gone either side of his feet and gone in the goal, but what a great save.
Amentides went to take the corner, held off. Now he will swing it towards the back post for Burgess. The header's there. Burgess again, and Max Burgess blasts over the bar. The volley in front of the Cove. Can't find the winner for Sydney FC, and the desperation on the faces of the fans of Ufuk Talay and off Max Burgess.
and a player you'd expect so much better from in that moment. Such a great technician and made for those moments as well. Just gets it all wrong, leans back a little bit. It was a little bit high when he took it, but again, Maxi Burgess any other day of the week is nestling that in the top corner and getting his side to win, but not tonight.
Uffe Talay starting to get the feeling that point is probably going to be all his side can settle for. Started so brightly once again. Nuno Reis now trying to link up with Tilio. A lot of work to do here for Tilio. Keeps it in play. Antonis. Easy for Redmayne. The final seconds. If Sydney FC can get it to the other end, or will honours be shared? City, could they have one final chance? Tilio was offside. Stays out of the play. And this one rolls down into the corner. Courtney Perkins would have to go coast to coast for Sydney FC. Perhaps one final chapter of drama. Amantides puts pressure on Young. He blasts it. Adam Kersey brings it to a close. It's been a thoroughly entertaining afternoon of Isuzu Ute A-League men's football. Handshakes all round for a Melbourne City side who come up with draws in consecutive weeks. Jordan Courtney Perkins, the man there who gave Sydney FC the advantage in the 29th minute. Uffe Talay shakes hands with his charges as well, and there are the goal scorers just exchanging some pleasantries. Marco Tilio on the hour for Melbourne City. It's been a pulsating afternoon. Players out on their feet. Chances in the second half at both ends. And it's as you were for Sydney FC and Melbourne City. Courtney Perkins in the 29th minute, Tilio in the 61st. And at full time, it's finished. Sydney FC 1, Melbourne City 1.